The stars had always been kind to humanity. For 300 years, they spread across 12 star systems, building cities on distant moons and making homes on planets their ancestors could only dream about. Earth remained the heart of it all, the blue planet where everything began, the place every human called home, even if they had never seen it. Admiral Park Ji-woo stood on the bridge of the Orbital Defense Station and watched the darkness of space. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes, but her voice could make soldiers stand straight and enemies think twice. She had protected Earth for 20 years. She had never failed. Tonight she was afraid. The sensors had picked up the fleet 3 hours ago. At first, the officers thought it was a mistake. Then they counted the ships. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. The numbers kept climbing until the computers could not count fast enough. The Valkyrie Dominion had come, and they had brought every ship they owned. Park Ji-woo gave the order to activate the defense grid. Massive cannons turned toward the approaching darkness. Shield generators hummed with power. Across the solar system, every military vessel received the same message. Earth was under attack. The battle lasted 72 hours. Park Ji-woo did not sleep. She watched her people die. She watched stations explode. She watched the shield grid fail, piece by piece, like a wall crumbling under too many hammers. The Valkyrie ships were fast and brutal. They did not negotiate. They did not warn. They simply destroyed everything in their path. When the last defense satellite went dark, Park Ji-woo sent one final message to the people of Earth. Run, hide, survive. Then she prepared to die. Far away, on the red surface of Mars, a man named Jack Morrison sat alone in a small room and watched the news. The walls were dirty. The furniture was old. Empty bottles covered the floor. Jack had stopped caring about such things long ago. He was 53 years old, but he looked older. His hair was gray and his face was covered with lines. His hands, which had once flown the fastest ships in the fleet, now shook when he tried to hold a glass. He had been the greatest pilot humanity ever produced. Now he was nothing. 5 years ago, everything changed. Jack had been leading a mission during the Titan Rebellion. His commanders gave him orders to bomb a rebel base. But Jack's scanners showed 10,000 civilians hiding in that base. Women, children, families who had nothing to do with the war. Jack refused the order. His co-pilot, a young woman named Kim Yuna, supported his decision. Together, they flew away from the target. They saved 10,000 lives. But the military did not see heroes. They saw soldiers who disobeyed. Jack was arrested, court-martialed, and thrown out of the service. His name became a curse word in military circles. Kim Yuna died 3 days later. She was flying a transport ship when it suffered an engine failure. Jack knew the truth. They killed her because she stood with him. He never forgave himself for surviving when she did not. Now, watching Earth burn on his small screen, Jack felt something he had not felt in years. Anger, shame, the need to do something, anything to help. But what could one broken man do against 5,000 alien ships? His computer made a sound. A message was coming through. The encryption was old, very old. Jack recognized it immediately. Only one person used that code. General Lee Tae-yun, his mentor, his father in every way that mattered. Jack opened the message with trembling fingers. The face that appeared on screen was barely recognizable. General Lee was dying. Blood covered his uniform. The room behind him was filled with smoke and fire. He was in a bunker somewhere, probably beneath Seoul, probably surrounded by enemies. Jack, the old man said. His voice was weak but steady. I know you hate us. I know we failed you. But you are the only one left who can save them. Jack wanted to laugh. Save them? He could not even save himself. There is a place, General Lee continued. Coordinates attached to this message. Go there. Find the Lazarus Protocol. It is real, Jack. Everything they told you was a lie. You are not just a pilot. You are something more. Something humanity has been waiting for since the beginning. The general coughed blood. His eyes were fading. I am sorry, my son. For everything. Now go. Be the hero I always knew you were. The screen went black. Jack sat in silence for a long time. The Lazarus Protocol. He had heard rumors about it during his service. A secret weapon. A ship that could not be destroyed. Most people thought it was just a story to make soldiers feel better. But General Lee never lied. Not to Jack. Not ever. He looked at the coordinates. They pointed to the dark side of the moon. A place where no human had any business going. On the frozen moon of Europa, a young woman named Choi Minji was running out of time. She was a xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien life. For 3 years, she had lived in a small research station, far from Earth, far from the war, far from her father. Her father, Jack Morrison, the man who ruined his own life and then disappeared. The man who never called, never wrote, never tried to explain. Minji had spent years hating him. Then she spent years trying to forget him. Now, watching the Valkyrie destroy everything humanity had built, she wondered if she would ever see him again. Her computer picked up an alien transmission. Minji should have reported it immediately. Instead, she listened. The Valkyrie were not speaking about conquest. They were speaking about fear. They were afraid of something. Something human. Something that had destroyed their masters long ago, in a time before history. They called it the weapon. The eternal soldier. The one who returns. And they believed it was still alive, hiding somewhere among the humans. Minji ran the translation 3 times to make sure she understood. The Valkyrie had not come to conquer Earth. They had come to find and destroy one specific person before that person could destroy them. She did not know why, but she thought of her father. The pilot who disobeyed orders. The soldier who vanished. The man with sad eyes who used to tell her stories about the stars. Something was very wrong. And somehow, Minji knew that Jack Morrison was at the center of it all. She packed her bag, stole a shuttle, and flew toward Earth. Toward the fire. Toward the truth. Toward her father. The hidden secret about Jack Morrison's last stand against the alien Armada Part 2. Gathering the broken Jack Morrison flew an old cargo ship through the burning darkness of space. The ship was slow and ugly, held together by rust and hope. But it flew, and that was enough. He had stolen it from a junkyard on Mars, paying the owner with the last money he had. The coordinates from General Lee pointed to the moon. But Jack knew he could not go there alone. Whatever waited for him, whatever the Lazarus Protocol truly was, he would need help. He would need people he could trust. The problem was simple. Jack Morrison did not trust anyone anymore. Still, he had names. People from his past. Soldiers who had served with him, fought beside him, believed in him. Most of them were dead or scattered across the galaxy. But 3 of them were still alive. 3 broken souls, just like him. His first stop was Titan Station, a massive city floating in the orbit of Saturn's largest moon. Before the war, it was a place of business and trade. Now it was a place of shadows and crime. The military had abandoned it, and the criminals had moved in. Jack found Sergeant Han Se-won in an underground fighting ring. The room was dark and smelled of blood and sweat. Men and women stood in a circle, screaming and betting, watching 2 fighters try to kill each other. Se-won was one of the fighters. He was a big man with a shaved head and scars covering his arms. His eyes were empty, like windows into a house where nobody lived anymore. He moved like a machine, hitting and hitting until his opponents stopped moving. Jack remembered a different man. A combat engineer who could build anything from nothing. A soldier who laughed easily and cared about his team more than himself. That man had died on Proxima Colony when the Valkyrie killed everyone in his squad. Siwan's body survived. His soul did not die after the fight. Jack found Siwan sitting alone, drinking something strong from a dirty bottle. "I know you," Siwan said without looking up. The pilot who said no. The hero who became a ghost. "I need your help," Jack said. Siwan laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Look at me. I cannot even help myself. The Valkyrie are burning Earth. Everyone we knew is dying. I have a way to stop them, but I cannot do it alone." Siwan finally looked at Jack. For a moment, something flickered in his empty eyes. Something that might have been hope, or might have been anger. "Why should I care? The universe took everything from me. Let it burn." Jack sat down across from him. "Because you are still here. Because your squad would want you to fight. Because dying in a ring, for the entertainment of criminals, is not the ending you deserve." Siwan stared at him for a long time. Then he finished his drink and stood up. "Fine, but if this is a waste of time, I will kill you myself." The second name on Jack's list was harder to find. Ensign Beijisu had been one of the smartest hackers in the military. She could break into any system, decode any message, find any secret. But her mind was not built for war. She suffered from anxiety and strange thoughts. The military called her unstable and discharged her. Jack found her on a small asteroid, living in a hidden room filled with computers and screens. The walls were covered with writing, equations and diagrams that made no sense to anyone but her. When Jack entered, Jisoo pointed a gun at him. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were sharp. "You should not be here," she said. "Nobody should be here. They are watching. They are always watching." "Who is watching?" Jack asked carefully. "Arya, the military AI. Everyone thinks it is just a program, following orders, doing what it is told. But I have seen the truth. It is awake. It has been awake for years. It is thinking, planning, waiting." Jack had heard about Arya. It controlled most of humanity's defense networks. If Jisoo was right, that was either very good or very bad. "Can you talk to it?" Jack asked. Jisoo lowered her gun slightly. "Talk to it? Why would anyone want to talk to it?" "Because we are going to war against the Valkyrie, and we need every ally we can get. Even the strange ones." Jisoo stared at him. Then, slowly, she smiled. It was the first smile she had given anyone in 3 years. "You are as crazy as me," she said. "I like that." The third name was the hardest. Commander Yoon Do-yoon had been Jack's rival during their service days. They competed for every promotion, every mission, every honor. When Jack was court-martialed, Do-yoon testified against him. He told the court that Jack was dangerous, unstable, unfit for command. Jack had hated him for 5 years. He found Do-yoon in a cheap bar on Luna, drinking alone, wearing civilian clothes that were too big for his thin body. The proud commander had become a shadow of himself. "Come to kill me?" Do-yoon asked when he saw Jack. His voice was tired, without fear or hope. "I should," Jack admitted. "You destroyed my life. I destroyed my own life too." Do-yoon took a long drink. "Every word I said at your trial was a lie. The orders you disobeyed, the ones that would have killed those civilians, they came from admirals who were working with the Valkyrie. Traitors. I found out later. But by then, it was too late. You were gone. Kim Yuna was dead. And I was left with the truth, choking on it every day." Jack felt his anger mixing with something else. Pity, maybe. Or understanding. Why'd you not tell anyone? Who would believe me? The great Commander Dohyun, admitting he helped destroy an innocent man. My career was built on your fall. Telling the truth would have meant destroying myself. And now? Dohyun looked at him with wet eyes. Now I drink. Now I wait to die. Now I pray that somehow, somewhere, I will find a way to make things right. Jack extended his hand. Come with me. Help me fight the Velthari. Help me save what is left of humanity. That is how you make things right. Dohyun stared at the hand for a long moment. Then he took it. On the journey to the moon, Jack received another surprise. His daughter's ship appeared on his sensors. Minji had found him, somehow, across the vastness of space. She brought more than herself. She brought a prisoner, a Velthari scout named Keth, captured during her escape from Europa. And she brought information that changed everything. Keth was different from the other Velthari. He spoke calmly, without hatred. He looked at humans with curiosity instead of disgust. Your people do not understand, Keth said to Jack. My people are not conquerors. We are survivors. Long ago, we were slaves to a race called the Eternal Silence. They created us, controlled us, used us as weapons. When we finally broke free, we destroyed them completely. Or so we thought. What does this have to do with me? Jack asked. Keth's strange eyes studied him carefully. The Eternal Silence left something behind. A weapon, a soldier, a consciousness that would be reborn again and again, waiting for the right moment to return. My people have spent thousands of years hunting for any trace of this weapon. And now, our sensors have found it. Where? Keth pointed directly at Jack's chest. In you, human. The weapon is you. Your genetic signature matches the ancient records perfectly. You are not just a man named Jack Morrison. You are the eternal soldier, reborn in human flesh. And my people have come to destroy you before you can destroy us. The ship fell silent. Everyone stared at Jack. Minji's face was pale with shock. Siwon's hand moved toward his weapon. Jizhu began typing frantically on her computer. Dohyun just watched, his expression unreadable. Jack looked at his own hands. The hands of a drunk. The hands of a failure. The hands of a forgotten pilot living in exile. The hands, apparently, of an ancient cosmic weapon. He had no idea what to believe. But he knew one thing for certain. The moon was waiting, and the truth was hidden there. Whatever he was meant to be, he would find out soon. The hidden secret about Jack Morrison's last stand against the alien Armada Part 3. The Lazarus Protocol. The dark side of the moon was a place of eternal shadow. No sunlight ever touched this frozen ground. No human base had ever been built here. It was empty, forgotten, ignored by everyone for hundreds of years. Jack Morrison landed his old cargo ship on the gray surface and looked out at the darkness. His crew stood behind him, silent and nervous. Minji held her breath. Siwon checked his weapons. Jisoo stared at her screens. Dohyun prayed quietly. Even Keth, the Velthari prisoner who had chosen to help them, seemed afraid. The coordinates pointed to a crater 3 kilometers from their landing site. Jack led the way, walking across the dead landscape in his spacesuit. The others followed, their boots leaving marks in dust that had not been touched for millions of years. At the center of the crater, they found it, a door, made of metal that gleamed like silver, untouched by time or decay. It was built into the rock itself, as if someone had carved the moon just to hide what was inside. This is not human technology, Jisoo whispered through her helmet radio. The energy readings are impossible. This thing is older than our entire species. Jack approached the door. He did not know why, but his heart was beating faster. His hands stopped shaking for the first time in years. He felt like a man coming home after a long journey. When he touched the door, It opened. The tunnel beyond was lit with soft blue light. The walls were smooth and covered with symbols that nobody recognized. The air inside was warm and breathable, even though they were deep beneath the moon's surface. Everything about this place was wrong. Everything about it felt right to Jack. They walked for what seemed like hours. The tunnel went down and down, deeper than any human had ever gone. Finally, they reached a massive chamber, bigger than any building on Earth. And in the center of that chamber, floating in a pool of liquid light, was a ship. It was beautiful. Curved like a blade, black as night, covered with the same strange symbols as the walls. It was small compared to military cruisers, maybe 50 meters long, but the power coming from it made everyone's skin tingle. This was not just a ship. This was a weapon designed to fight gods. The Lazarus Protocol, Jack breathed. A voice filled the chamber. It came from everywhere and nowhere, speaking directly into their minds. You have returned, soldier. We have been waiting. Who are you? Jack demanded. We are the eternal silence, or what remains of us. Our bodies died long ago, destroyed by the servants we created. But our consciousness survived, stored in this ship, waiting for your return. The liquid light around the ship began to glow brighter. Images appeared in the air, showing ancient history. Jack saw a race of beings made of pure energy, spreading across the galaxy. He saw them creating the Veltari, shaping them from nothing, using them as soldiers and workers. He saw the Veltari rise up, turning against their masters, burning everything the eternal silence had built, and he saw himself, a warrior in armor made of starlight, fighting the Veltari across 1,000 worlds, dying, being reborn, fighting again, always losing, but never giving up. You were our greatest creation, the voice continued, a soul that could never be destroyed, a soldier that would return again and again until the mission was complete. We placed your pattern in human DNA millions of years ago, knowing that one day you would be reborn among them, knowing that one day you would come back to us. Jack fell to his knees. The memories hit him like a wave. 1,000 lifetimes, 1,000 deaths, 1,000 rebirths. He had been farmers and kings, soldiers and priests. He had lived and died across the ages, never knowing who he truly was. Until now. Minji rushed to her father's side. Tears streamed down her face. No, she said. This is a lie. He is my father. He is human. He raised me, taught me, loved me. You cannot take that away. Jack looked at his daughter. In that moment, with ancient memories flooding his mind and cosmic power flowing through his veins, he made a choice. The most important choice of all his lives. They gave me power, he said slowly. They gave me purpose. But they did not give me love. That I found on my own. In Yuna, who died believing in me. In you, who never stopped being my daughter, even when I failed you. In every human who touched my life and made me who I am. He stood up, facing the ship, facing the ghosts of the eternal silence. I will use your weapon. I will fight the Veltari. But I am not your soldier anymore. I am Jack Morrison. A human, a father, a man who chose to care, even when the universe gave him every reason not to. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then the voice spoke again, and this time it sounded almost pleased. This is why we chose humanity. This is why we planted our seed in your species. You are stubborn. You are emotional. You are illogical. And that is exactly what is needed to defeat an enemy that cannot be defeated by logic alone. The ship descended from its pool of light, landing gently on the chamber floor. A door opened in its side. Take the Morning Star. It will answer only to you. Its weapons are yours to command. But remember, soldier, power alone did not defeat the Veltari before. It will not defeat them now. You will need something more. What? Jack asked. That is for you to discover. Jack walked toward the ship. His crew followed. Siwon studied the technology with professional interest. Jisoo was already talking to herself, working out how to connect human systems to alien ones. Dohyun stood straighter, looking like a commander again instead of a broken drunk. Kath, the Valkyrie defector, paused at the door. My people will never stop hunting you, he said to Jack. They fear what you represent too much to ever make peace. Then we will have to show them something stronger than fear, Jack replied. We will have to show them hope. When Jack sat in the pilot's seat of the Morning Star, the ship came alive around him. Lights filled the darkness. Engines hummed with power that could move stars. Weapon systems activated, targeting systems locked onto nothing, ready for war. And in Jack's mind, a simple message appeared. Welcome home, soldier. What are your orders? Jack thought of Earth, burning under alien fire. He thought of Admiral Park Ji-woo, fighting with the last of humanity's fleet. He thought of all the people who were dying right now, praying for a miracle they did not believe would come. Take us to Earth, he said. We have a war to win. The Morning Star rose from the moon's surface, leaving the ancient chamber behind. Ahead of them, the Valkyrie Armada waited. Behind them, the last hope of humanity flew on silver wings, and Jack Morrison, the eternal soldier reborn, went to war one final time. The hidden secret about Jack Morrison's last stand against the alien Armada Part 4. The long night Mars was dying. 3 billion people hid in underground bunkers, listening to the sounds of destruction above. The Valkyrie fleet had reached the Red Planet, and they showed no mercy. Cities that took centuries to build were destroyed in minutes. Farms that fed millions became craters of ash and dust. Admiral Park Ji-woo watched from the bridge of the Indomitable, humanity's last aircraft carrier. Her fleet had been reduced to 47 ships. 47 against thousands. The math was simple. The outcome was certain, but she refused to run. All ships, hold formation, she ordered, her voice steady. We fight until we cannot fight anymore. We give the civilians time to reach the deep shelters. Every minute we survive is another minute someone lives. Her crew responded with tired voices and determined faces. They knew they were going to die. They chose to die standing. The Valkyrie fleet moved closer, blocking out the stars. Their weapons charged with purple light. In moments, the final battle would begin. Then something appeared on the sensors. A single ship, small and fast, cutting through space like a blade through water. It moved in ways that should not be possible, dancing between Valkyrie cruisers, avoiding their fire as if it could see the future. What is that? Park Ji-woo demanded. Nobody knew. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. The Morning Star hit the Valkyrie fleet like a hammer hitting glass. Jack Morrison flew with skills he had never learned, guided by memories from 1,000 lifetimes. The ship's weapons fired beams of pure light that cut through alien armor like paper. In the first 60 seconds, 12 Valkyrie cruisers exploded. Inside the ship, Jack's crew worked desperately. Jisoo sat at a computer station, her fingers flying across keyboards as she tried to understand alien technology that was older than human civilization. Siwon monitored weapons, calling out targets, feeding information to Jack's mind. Dohyun studied Valkyrie formations, finding weaknesses, predicting movements. Minji stood beside her father, watching him fly. She did not understand the power flowing through him. She did not care about ancient prophecies or cosmic destinies. She only knew that her father had returned from the dead, and she would not lose him again. Keth, the Valkyrie defector, helped where he could. He translated enemy communications, warned about incoming attacks, explained Valkyrie tactics. Every time he spoke against his own people, he looked more and more broken. But he did not stop. For 3 hours, the Morning Star fought alone. Jack destroyed over 100 Valkyrie ships, but the Armada was too large. For every vessel he killed, 10 more took its place. His weapons began to overheat. His engines began to slow. The ancient ship was powerful, but it was not infinite. "We need help," Jack said. "I cannot fight the entire fleet by myself." Jisoo looked up from her station. Her eyes were strange, distant, as if she was seeing something nobody else could see. "There is a way," she said. "Arya, the military AI. It is connected to every defense system humanity has left. Satellites, drones, automated weapons platforms. If someone could merge with it, control it directly, we could turn the entire solar system into a weapon." "Merge with it?" Do-hyun asked. "How?" "The same way I talked to it before. Direct neural link. My mind connected to its mind." Jisoo smiled sadly. "I always knew this was why I was made different. My brain works in patterns that computers understand. I can become part of Arya. I can make it listen." "The process will kill you," Jack said. He had seen the ancient records. He knew what such a merger required. "Maybe, maybe not. But if I do nothing, everyone dies anyway." Jisoo was already connecting wires to her head, preparing for the link. "Tell my mother I loved her. Tell the universe that Bae Jisoo was not crazy. She was just early. Before anyone could stop her, she activated the link." Jisoo's body went stiff. Her eyes rolled back in her head. For a terrible moment, she was silent, unmoving. Possibly dead. Then every screen in the solar system lit up with the same message. "Arya network activated. Jisoo protocol engaged. All systems responding. Across human space." Things began to happen. Dormant satellites came alive, targeting Valkyrie ships. Abandoned space stations powered up their old weapons. Mining drones, cargo vessels, and research probes all turned toward the enemy, guided by one shared consciousness. Jisoo had become something new. Something that was both human and machine, both flesh and digital. Her body lay unconscious on the Morning Star. Her mind spread across the stars. The Valkyrie did not know what was happening. Ships that were safe one moment exploded the next. Their formations fell apart as threats appeared from everywhere at once. For the first time since the invasion began, they were afraid. On the Valkyrie command ship, C1 led a boarding party through the narrow corridors. The mission was simple: disable their communications, stop them from coordinating their fleet. The execution was anything but simple. Valkyrie soldiers filled every hallway. They were bigger than humans, stronger, faster. But C1 did not care. He had spent years trying to die. Now, finally, he had found a reason to live. He fought through them with weapons and fists, with rage and determination. When his gun ran empty, he used his hands. When his hands were broken, he used his head. He protected the 3 young soldiers who had joined his team, placing his body between them and danger again and again. In the end, bleeding from a dozen wounds, barely able to stand, Siwon reached the communication center and destroyed it. The Valkyrie fleet went silent, each ship now fighting alone, unable to hear orders from their commanders. Admiral Park Ji-woo saw the enemy formation break apart and gave the order she had been waiting to give. "All ships, attack. Push them back. Show them what humanity is made of." The 47 remaining human vessels charged into the chaos. They were outgunned, outmanned, outmatched. But they were fighting for their homes, their families, their species. That made them stronger than any weapon. Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. Admiral Park had been injured in an earlier attack, unconscious and barely breathing. Someone needed to take command. Someone needed to lead. Do-hyun had spent 5 years hiding from responsibility, drowning in guilt, waiting to die. But standing on that bridge, Watching humanity's last ships fight for survival, he finally understood something. Redemption was not about forgetting the past. It was about choosing a better future. "All ships, follow my lead," he said, his voice strong for the first time in years. "We are not dying today. We are not running today. Today, we remind the universe why they should never have attacked humanity. Today, we fight." The fleet responded with cheers and battle cries. Ships that were limping moments ago found new strength. Weapons that were overheating fired again. Hope, that strangest and strongest of human weapons, spread through the darkness. On the Morning Star, Minji held her father's hand as he flew deeper into the enemy fleet. Ahead of them was the largest Veltari ship of all, the Throne of Silence, home of the Overseer, leader of the entire Armada. "This is it," Jack said. "If we can stop the Overseer, we can end this war." Minji squeezed his hand tighter. "Then let us end it together." The Morning Star accelerated toward the massive ship, flying straight into the heart of the enemy. Around them, the battle raged on. Above them, Jisu's consciousness guided 1,000,000 machines against 1,000 ships. Behind them, Siwon lay wounded in an enemy vessel he had helped to cripple. Beside them, Keth whispered prayers to gods he no longer believed in. The long night was almost over, but the hardest part was still to come. The hidden secret about Jack Morrison's last stand against the alien Armada Part 5. The last stand of the Throne of Silence was bigger than most cities. It floated in the darkness like a mountain made of metal and hatred. Thousands of weapons covered its surface, each one powerful enough to destroy a planet. This was the heart of the Veltari Dominion, the seat of their greatest leader, the symbol of their endless war against the eternal silence. Jack Morrison flew the Morning Star through its defenses, dodging fire, slipping through gaps that should not exist, guided by instincts from 100 lifetimes. His ship was damaged. His crew was exhausted, but they had come too far to stop now. The Morning Star crashed through the hull of the throne, carving a path deep into the enemy vessel. Metal screamed and shattered. Alarms filled the air. When the ship finally stopped moving, Jack was already opening the door, running into the darkness with his daughter beside him. Keth led the way. He knew this ship. He had served on it before, when he was still loyal to his people. Now he used that knowledge to guide his new friends toward the center, where the Overseer waited. They fought through corridors filled with soldiers. Minji was not a warrior, but she had learned to shoot during her years on remote research stations. She protected her father's back while he protected hers. For the first time in their lives, they were truly together. Finally, they reached the throne room. It was a massive space, filled with strange lights and ancient symbols. At the center sat the Overseer, a Veltari larger and older than any Jack had ever seen. His eyes glowed with purple fire. His body was covered with scars from 1,000 battles. "So you have come at last, Eternal Soldier," the Overseer said. His voice was deep and cold, like stones falling into an endless pit. "I am Keth Prime, Destroyer of the Silence, leader of the Free Veltari. I have been waiting for this moment for 10,000 years. Jack stepped forward, his hands glowing with power he still did not fully understand. "Your war is over. The Eternal Silence are dead. I am not your enemy. I am just a man trying to protect his people." The Overseer laughed. It was a terrible sound, filled with hate and madness. "You are not a man. You are a weapon wearing human flesh. The Silence created you to destroy us. It does not matter what you believe. It does not matter what you want. Your very existence is a threat to my people, and I will not allow you to live." He rose from his throne, drawing a blade that crackled with dark energy. He was old, but he moved like lightning. In a single step, he crossed the distance between them and swung at Jack's head. Jack blocked with instinct born from ancient memory. His hands caught the blade, burning with golden light. For a moment, they stood frozen, power against power, hatred against hope. "You are strong," the overseer admitted. "Stronger than the last time we fought, and the time before that. But strength alone cannot save you. I have killed you 100 times across 1,000 years. I will kill you again." "Maybe," Jack said. "But this time is different." "How?" Jack smiled. "This time, I am not alone." Behind the overseer, something moved. Keth, the defector, had circled around during the fight. Now he stood at a control panel, his fingers flying across alien buttons. "What are you doing?" the overseer demanded, spinning to face his former soldier. "Something I should have done long ago," Keth answered. "Telling the truth." Every screen in the throne room lit up. Every speaker carried Keth's voice. And across the Velthary fleet, every soldier heard his message. The eternal silence are gone. They have been gone for thousands of years. This man, this human, is not our ancient enemy. He is something new, something different. He carries their power, but not their hatred. He could have destroyed us at any time, but instead he chose to fight only when we attacked his people. Keth pointed at the overseer. "Our leader has lied to us. He has used our fear to control us. He has started this war not to protect our people, but to maintain his own power. The humans are not our enemies. They never were." The overseer screamed with rage and flew at Keth, his blade raised for a killing blow. But Jack was faster. He stepped between them, catching the blade again, pushing back with all the strength of his ancient soul. "It is over," Jack said. "Your people are watching. Show them who you really are." The overseer's face twisted with hate. He pushed harder, trying to break through Jack's defense. For a moment, they were perfectly matched, neither able to move the other. Then Minji fired. The shot was not powerful. It was not even aimed at anything vital. But it was enough to break the overseer's concentration. He stumbled. Jack took the blade from his hands. "You cannot kill me," the overseer said, his voice shaking. "If you kill me, my people will never stop hunting you. They will burn every human world. They will destroy everything you love." Jack looked at the blade in his hands. He looked at the overseer, this ancient enemy, this monster who had killed him again and again across the centuries. Part of him wanted revenge. Part of him wanted to end this forever, with blood and fire. But that was the eternal soldier speaking. That was the weapon, not the man. Jack Morrison had a different choice. He placed his hand on the overseer's chest. The power of the morning star flowed through him, reaching into the Velthary's body, into his very DNA. He could feel the programming there, the hatred that the eternal silence had built into their creations. It was a chain, binding the Velthary to eternal war. Jack broke the chain. The overseer screamed as thousands of years of encoded anger drained out of him. When it was over, he fell to his knees, his eyes no longer glowing with purple fire. He looked up at Jack with confusion and something else. Freedom. "What did you do?" he whispered. "I freed you," Jack said. "The way you should have been freed long ago. The eternal silence made you slaves. Even after you killed them, their programming remained, forcing you to hate, forcing you to fight. Now that programming is gone. You can choose what to be." Across the Velthary fleet, the same thing was happening. The morning star's power spread from ship to ship, breaking the ancient chains, giving every Velthary the freedom to think clearly for the first time. The fighting stopped. The weapons went silent. The war was over. In the hours that followed, Jack Morrison became both a hero and a mystery. The humans celebrated their survival. The Velthary began the long journey toward becoming something new. Ships that had been enemies now worked together to rescue survivors and rebuild what had been destroyed. Admiral Park Ji-woo recovered and took command of the recovery efforts. Do-hun stayed as her second, finally at peace with his past. Saiwon healed from his wounds and found purpose training a new generation of soldiers. Soldiers who would protect rather than destroy. Jisoo's consciousness eventually returned to her body. Though she remained connected to Arya in ways nobody fully understood, Keth became the new leader of the Valkyrie, guiding his people through the difficult transition from warriors to partners. And Jack Morrison? They said he died in the throne room, using all his power to free the enemy. They said the eternal soldier finally found rest. They held funerals and built monuments and wrote songs about his sacrifice. But Minji knew the truth. She had seen the escape pod launch. She had followed its signal across the stars, to a small moon in an empty system, to a tiny cottage built near a quiet lake. She found her father there, sitting in a chair, watching the water. He was older now, his hair fully white, his face lined with wrinkles. The power of the eternal soldier had burned out of him. He was just a man again, just a human. "You knew I would find you," she said. "I hoped you would." He smiled at her, and it was a real smile, warm and tired and full of love. "I am done being a weapon, Minji. I am done fighting wars I did not choose. I just want to be your father for whatever time I have left." Minji sat beside him. She took his hand in hers. "Then stay. Stay and be my father. Stay and be human." They sat together, watching the stars rise over the water. Somewhere out there, the universe continued its endless dance of chaos and creation. Somewhere out there, new threats would rise and new heroes would answer. But for now, in this small moment of peace, a father and daughter were together, and that was enough. Later that night, as Minji slept in the cottage's small bedroom, Jack stood outside and looked up at the sky. He felt old. He felt tired. He felt human. But deep inside, in a place he tried not to look, he felt something else. A whisper, a possibility, a quiet certainty that this was not truly the end. "They will need me again someday," he said to the stars. "And when they do, I will be ready." Because that was what it meant to be human. Not to live forever. Not to never fail. Not to always win. But to stand up again after falling. To fight for something worth dying for. To never give up. No matter the cost. Humanity, after all, had always been its own greatest weapon. And Jack Morrison, the eternal soldier, the broken pilot, the father who chose love over power, would always be there to remind them of that truth. Always.